Finally, we got that so-called promo for Team Bad Guys, and looks like Pomni's really gonna show us her true self. And honestly, I'm already scared for the rest of the digital circus crew. Jax ain't showing us anything new while Pomni's straight up obsessed with this whole adventure, and the only thing I'm really wondering is why the hell she needs corn. And just a funny little fact, in this so-called teaser, bad guys are standing right by Kaufmo's door. No clue if that's a hint or not, but it's definitely an interesting lil detail. In the best team vote, Pew Pew's still holding that top spot steady, and for some reason, I'm sure it's gonna stay that way right up till episode 6 drops. And yeah, this was actually the first team to get some love from Glitch, and we're definitely gonna talk about that today too. Just recently, Glitch dropped another post hyping up one of the teams, and obviously, we're talking about Unmasked here. If we think back to the description of that teaser, now this is my kind of team, full of zest and confidence, ready to cause absolute chaos. Whether that be to themselves or others is anyone's guess. I feel like for a lineup like this, it's the perfect description, because if you think about it, in episode 5, Zooble straight up made it clear she's not into any wild adventures and she's way more into chill stuff like her little bar hangout, some stargazing, or that softball game that was mostly just verbal chaos but overall pretty calm. And if we think back to the episode 6 trailer, it's easy to see the whole thing's just one big mess of chaos, which is definitely not her vibe. As for Gangle, no matter what kind of adventure it is, she's always finding some problem with herself, and I can totally picture a scene where she gets shot a couple times and we get that classic crying Gangle moment where everything's terrible and nobody loves her. Just picture that for a sec, and tell me how in that case Unmasked are supposed to cause chaos for anyone but themselves. But if we actually look at the teaser, Gangle's part is pretty standard, while Zooble's sitting there with her sniper rifle looking all determined. And it's kind of interesting to think if she's actually going to carry the comedy mask with her so she can, bring Gangle back to life in the heat of the moment. Still, this pic raised a ton of questions, and the biggest one came from this user. Why is she inside Gangle? To which Goose replied, "They're really good friends." I get that it might seem a little weird, but let's not go adding stuff that's not there. Most likely Zooble's just carrying Gangle so it's easier to move around without her getting shot. At least that's what I'm hoping for. On top of that, we also got what you could call a promo push for Team Pew Pew with Kinger and Ragatha in the lineup. These fearsome-looking characters sure do put the fear of God into you. Well, maybe not fear, but maybe chaos. Diet chaos. Vote for them now. Noticed how much they're throwing the word chaos around in these posts? That's actually pretty intriguing, especially since we already know the era of chill episodes ended with the final scene of episode 5. I'm thinking every EP from 6 onwards gonna be crazy good, but for now let's break down the teaser itself. We see a scared Ragatha holding a gun in one hand and a shotgun in the other, and Kinger who's catching butterflies. If you remember the actual trailer where it was the other way around, you can pretty much say this is a reflection of these characters at the start of the new adventure. Kinda like in episode 3, where Kinger was also, let's say, not totally in his right mind. And the moment there was any real threat to his life, he instantly flipped into a totally sane character. So it's pretty fair to guess we're gonna see the same kind of deal in episode 6, with the real soldier side of Kinger only showing up after the first shot gets fired their way. All this is crazy intriguing, especially if we think back to that one post from Gooseworx where she said the new episode's gonna have this, let's say, pretty specific joke. And with all the drama that blew up around Ragatha in episode 5, I got a feeling that joke might end up playing a huge part in some brand new potential drama. But aside from that, the whole digital circus community's already been through a couple of dramas, and some of them were straight up nasty. So let's remember a couple of those and how they might come into play in episode 6. So on June 2nd, one of UTTP's so-called leaders, Glenn, declared that it was time to go after the digital circus fandom with special attention aimed at encouraging everyone on the site to participate. But for UTTP members, it was mandatory. One of their biggest targets? Michael Kovatch, the voice actor behind Jax. Their so-called hunt for him has been going on for a while now. I won't show all the replies UTTP members have been leaving under Michael's posts. YouTube would definitely take this video down. But as you can imagine, they're not just jokes or harmless trolling. But if UTTP's activity was limited to just replying to posts on Twitter or chatting on their own sites, maybe it wouldn't be that dangerous. But the problem turned out to be way worse. UTTP members literally started leaking Michael Kovatch's private information, including his phone number and home address. And he's not the only one who got hit. Lizzie Freeman, the voice actress for Pomni, also became a target. What's truly shocking is that they're actually proud of what they've done, even though what they're doing is straight up illegal. All of it, is fully criminal and can easily land them in prison for years if it comes to that. Even Gooseworx wasn't safe, Some of her accounts were hacked and her private data was leaked right on their site. And honestly, I don't even want to comment on some of the posts made by UTTP members. The main threat doesn't even come from UTTP themselves. Yeah, they definitely cause chaos and toxicity, but I really doubt they do anything in real life outside their little bubble. The fact that they're leaking personal data is just disgusting, mostly because that kind of info could end up in the hands of someone who actually knows how to use it with bad intentions. We'll talk about a few more dramas surrounding the digital circus today, but to wrap this one up, I just want to say that behavior like this online shouldn't go unpunished. But let's take a little break and talk about the latest drama surrounding the digital circus. And this one's all about the circus itself, with no outsiders involved this time. Lately, there's been more and more hate toward Ragatha, and I keep seeing comments like, "I'm glad more people are catching on to the fact that Ragatha sucks," or "She's so dumb looking. I hate her so much. I hate Ragatha." And if these users are being, let's say, relatively mild, there are tons of posts that go way harder, like, "I actually can't stand Ragatha. Ever since episode 1, I hate her. I hate her so much, and I don't know why. Twizzler hair having ass." And obviously all of this started after the events we saw in episode 5. It all began with that stargazing scene where Ragatha walked up to Jax and Pomni, and as usual, started scolding Jax for his behavior. But then she said the thing we all remember: she brought up Jax's best friend. But up to that point, none of the fans really had any issues with our doll, not until that bar scene where Ragatha started acting real weird. And just like that, the growing bond between Jax and Pomni drove Ragatha into a full-on meltdown, perfectly shown in that scene. Jax ended up catching some heat too, cause yeah, he was the main trigger for that burst of aggression. And Pomni, who was just trying to calm Ragatha down, got dragged into it too. That's exactly when the mass bullying of Ragatha kicked off. And if those earlier posts I showed you just came off as personal hate towards her, this next one, way more alarming. Ragatha sucks, I hope she abstracts. That's messed up. No matter how you feel about a character, wishing something like that on them is just not okay. I mean, yeah, I've got a character I seriously can't stand too, but I'd never wish them something like that. And now I'm curious, can you guess who I'm talking about? Drop your guesses in the comments. Gooseworx just added fuel to the fire herself. When asked, will Ragatha be okay after episode 5, she just replied with a simple, huh. And since we remember her mental state at the end of episode 5, it really seems like Ragatha might abstract in episode 6, but more on that in the next part of the video. Meanwhile, let's not forget, I said this drama involves not just Ragatha, but Jax too, and that's where it gets wild. With all the recent hate around Ragatha, you can see more and more posts throwing serious shade at Jax, like, "Hate that stupid purple rabbit from the amazing digital circus. Hope to God he dies, bruh. Can't stand to see my enemies succeed and live." Jax. Ragatha, kill that thing, I support you. It's clear the fandoms split into two camps fighting each other. Some hype Jax for his honesty and realness, especially after learning about Ribbit, and how episode 5 made Jax the most popular character in Digital Circus. Meanwhile, those same fans trash Ragatha, calling for her to be erased from the show. The other side hates Jax hard, calling him the biggest jerk in the circus and seeing Ragatha as the most positive, kind, and genuine character. And on top of all that, Goose posted on Blue Sky saying, "Don't get me wrong, Jax is still my favorite character, but some of you guys make too many excuses for his behavior. He has reasons for why he acts the way he does, but he's still not a good person." This post kind of confirms we shouldn't take Jax as the good guy he seemed to be in episode 5, and there's another leak from Gooseworx that backs this up, but more on that real soon. And here we come to the heart of the new drama, and many are sure it's all about misogyny. I've seen tons of posts like this one. Every female character who displays any sort of complex emotion will be called an abuser at this point. It's like the misogynistic, unpreventable event for every fandom at this point. Opinions like this are popping up more and more on X, Reddit, and beyond. Misogyny or any kind of hate based on prejudice is disgusting, but should we see misogyny as the only reason behind this drama? I don't think so. I don't rule it out as a cause, but this whole situation needs to be looked at from every angle, not just blamed solely on misogyny. Besides that, this drama has favoritism too, and like I said before, after episode 5 dropped, Jax became the most popular character in the digital circus again, so naturally he's got the biggest fan base. Since episode 5 basically pits Jax and Ragatha against each other, it's only logical that fans crazy about one will hate the other. Also, if we remember what Ragatha was like at the start of the show, and what she turned into later, it's no surprise many fans started doubting her character. And this scene just won't leave my mind. Some weird double standards mixed with sudden changes in behavior, plus a bit of misogyny and favoritism. That's what sparked this nasty drama centered around Ragatha.